kids can lose up to 30% of what they learned during the school year over the summer. But it does not have to be this way, even for neurodivergent learners. Raising neurodivergent kids is messy, beautiful, and a lot. I'm Mary Ellen Yates, and this is Growing Together, Neurodiversity at Home. Let's figure it out together. So let's get started. What is summer regression? So it mostly affects reading and math because those are skills that need to be built on throughout the kids' academic years. And this is often caused by reduced access to structured learning and experiences and enrichment during the summer. So who does it mostly affect? It mostly affects young learners, especially the kindergarten through third grade. These kids are learning foundational skills and they build on these skills, and they need a lot of practice to really have these skills solid. So they often will lose these skills during the summer. It can also affect kids that are neurodivergent because their routine and structure has changed, and this can be hard for them. And then it can also be hard when they go back to school, having to try to regain all of that. It creates a lot of mental load to regain that structure, and then also the academic piece. It can be hard. This definitely affects my household. My 10-year-old has some learning struggles, and then my 6-year-old just finished first grade, so they need all the practice they can get. Studies show that 20 to 30% of their academic skills can be affected during the summer. This mostly affects reading and math. And this loss can accumulate over time. Teachers in the beginning of the year, they'll try to review some things to get people back up to speed, but a 20 to 30% loss is a huge chunk of the school year. And so there might be things that they miss. And when you're losing 20 to 30% every year, parents and teachers will start noticing gaps later on, especially if it doesn't get addressed. So why does this happen? It happens because they are having a lack of practice and exposure to things that keeps their brain muscle strong. So it's just like any other muscle in your body. If you do not exercise it for 2 months, it's going to be hard to exercise it. So I like to walk every day. So if I took 2 months off, I would have lack of motivation to do it because I've gotten used to not using those muscles. It's going to be harder. The walk is going to be probably slower. It's going to be harder. It's not going to be as enjoyable because I'm going to be having to work harder. I'm going to have to develop that routine all over again and develop those muscle memory and just the mental energy to keep that in my routine. I'm going to go back. Like, I'm not going to be at where I was 2 months ago. I'm going to have to reuse those muscles to get there. So the same thing happens for the brain, especially for those that struggle and that are young. They also can have gaps in their fine motor skills like writing and scissor work. So, what can we do about this? These are some suggestions that can help all kids, but definitely neurodivergent kids as well. I'm thinking of my own kids when I suggest these things. Keeping your daily routine as normal or as regular as possible. I know everyone's like, oh, it's the summer. I just want to relax and not do anything. But again, it's going to be harder. Like, you've built all year, you built this routine and you finally got it the way you want it. And then you're going to have 2 months of not having that routine. You're going to have to start over. And I don't know about you, but routines are really hard, and they're so important once you get them to work because they really make your life so much easier. So for us, we have the advantage of having a lot of therapies and appointments. So it helps us stay in a pretty regular routine just with the expectation that we'll still be going to these appointments. But also, I'm going to be keeping it light during the summer with their academic expectations. This year, I created calendars for them where they have their task that they're expected to do each day. Now, these calendars are supposed to be teacher light. So I'm not supposed to be doing much with this because I need the summer to work on my own projects and things that I've been putting off. I need to have the mental load off for me for the summer. So these calendars help so I don't even have to think about what they need to do. It's right there. And then I just assist where I need for a minimal amount of time. Visual schedules help in general because it helps reduce their anxiety. It helps them know what their expectations are. And I tend to get less resistance when I have these visual reminders. I do have to say that the first week, they are the most reluctant, but then once they understand it and get in the flow of things, things go a lot easier. So, okay, so let's start with my calendar for my second son who just finished first grade and is going into second grade. I made a calendar on Google Documents, and I just made a table to fill in the information. I made a heading and I had the information about what the words meant in the calendar so that they would know what they were expected to do. So I have math, which is Math Mammoth Review Workbook. Math Mammoth gave PDFs for the review books, and so I was able to grab that for free. And then read for 10 minutes. And then the CFM is our religious study that we get from Mindful Heart. And then we have math puzzles that we get from Beast Academy. And then we have writing. I have his blue cursive book, which is from Handwriting Without Tears. The first half of the book practices their printing skills, and the second half, he learns how to do cursive. And then I have V puzzles, which means first grade vocabulary puzzle workbook. And he just does a page of that each day, and the puzzles change each day. I think my mom gave it to us, and she got it from Ollie's. So that's what we're using. He's getting some math and some reading in and some writing, and mixed in with some fun. I have things scheduled Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I have Friday off because we often do play dates or do fun activities. And so I want our summer to be fun and not trying to squeeze it in. But they also, if they miss out on some of these things during the week, they can finish it on Friday. And so as you can see, he already did Monday, and he just crosses off what he does as he does it. So then he knows when he's done. And so on Monday, I have reading. So he's reading for 10 minutes. He's doing a math worksheet. He's doing his religious study, which for his age, we read a scripture and then he's tracing the scripture. And there might be a little grammar activity to do also. He also has the vocabulary puzzles and he just does a page. Then on Tuesday, he's reading again, math again. He has his religious study and finishing up whatever was assigned for that week. There can be some fun puzzles or crosswords or cipher things. And also, he draws a picture of what he learned for that week and he writes a sentence. And then he also has to do his writing on Tuesday, which is the Handwriting Without Tears. And so then on Wednesday, he has reading, math, again, the learning to print, and then his vocabulary puzzles. And then on Thursday, he is reading. He has math puzzles from Beast Academy. So he can do a page or a few of them. A lot of times they like the puzzles, and so they do quite a bit, and that's great. And then they have their writing. He has his writing practice again and his vocabulary puzzles again. And then he gets 10 minutes of some type of screen time after he completes his schoolwork, just like he does during the school year. So it keeps that rhythm going and keeps him motivated because that's something that's really important to him. A lot of times after school, especially right now, he likes to watch a drawing video that's on YouTube, like Artland or Art Hub, and he learns how to draw something, which is also another skill, and it's great for the summer. So that's what his looks like. And then July just looks the same. I kept the assignments the same for each day of the week. It's just the days of a week that change, but it's the same on each day of the week. And this is our calendar for my fifth grader. He has learning struggles. So right now we're practicing his multiplication tables, and he needs more practice with that to get more fluent. So what we're using for math for the summer is Sticky Facts Multiplication by Kate Snow. She has a series for addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. And each one is its own book. And so you do a multiplication game, and then she has worksheets that you do that are pretty quick. So he does his math, and then for reading, for his age, really, he could be doing 30 minutes, but he has dyslexia, and so he does fatigue quite a bit. And so I'm having him do 20 minutes, but then he also has to do a post-it with that. And I got this idea from Rooted in Language. If you need any language arts assistance, I definitely recommend you checking them out. So for each chapter that he reads, he has to do 3 facts and a feeling on a post-it note, and then he sticks it at the end of that chapter. And then that will help him get a little more writing in because writing is hard. but it's bite size. And then also it will help him with his comprehension skills as well. And then he also has the religious study workbook that he does like his brother, but for him, he is doing copy work where he is writing the scripture in cursive to practice his cursive skills. And then he also has a grammar activity as well. And then for math puzzles, he's also using Beast Academy puzzles, and he's just doing the same puzzles as his brother. And then writing, we're doing EIW. We're using the third grade workbook. And so it's just a short video, and then it has workbook lessons recommended. They're very bite-sized, incremental, step-by-step, which is what he needs for his learning. So he just does the video, or maybe not the video if there's no video that day, and lesson. And then writing projects, he's doing a language arts assignment or writing a letter to a friend. So my kiddos have a lot of appointments. And so there's 2 days a week for each of them. I have appointments that go for an hour, and the other kid is just sitting there waiting for them during that appointment. So during that time, I will continue language arts during that time. So with that, there could be a writing project that we're working on, and he would be using that project for his writing project. Or if we have no writing projects right now in the language arts lessons, then he would just be writing to his friend and doing a full letter and letter format and addressing the envelope and mailing it off as well, the whole process. But letters often take a couple of days. It's not something that he's going to finish in one day. And the writing project might take multiple days. So that is our plan. And then you can see for Monday, he has reading, math, and then the scripture study. The writing can be a lot with the copy work, so that's all he has to do that day. And then on Tuesday, it's reading, math, and the religious study again. This is just finishing up what he has to do. Usually he has to draw a picture and write a sentence about what he learned and a couple more other things. So it's not as writing intensive. So he also has part of the writing project that day too. Then on Wednesday, there's reading, math, and then he's doing his EIW lesson. And then on Thursday, he's reading, he's doing math puzzles, and he's working on whatever his writing project is. And then it goes the same each week. On Fridays, he's going to be working on anything he hasn't finished up during the week, or we're doing play dates and fun things on Fridays too. So that's what his calendar looks like. So another thing they can do during the summer is visit the library. A lot of libraries have summer reading programs, and other places might have summer reading programs as well. We chose Barnes and Noble this year for a summer reading program. So let me show you what their requirements are. And you just have to read 8 books, and then they have to log it in their journal. And then in the months of July and August, they can bring their journal to a Barnes and Noble, and they can pick out a book from this list. They have a list for first grade. You can see third grade and in fourth grade, and then fifth and sixth grade. At the bottom, they write down their information. And then the journal looks like this. Very simple, one page. They put down the title and the author of their book, and then they write a sentence about what their favorite part was. So this was his first book that he read. He'll just do the same for all of this, and then he'll pass it in. That easy. And another opportunity for him to have to do a little bit of writing. I try to sneak in as much writing as I can throughout to help him with that skill. So also you can incorporate academics into daily activities. Like during snack time, negotiating snacks. Oh, I want this many crackers. Okay, let's count it. Or, oh, I have this much and I need to give each of you an even amount. How much do I give each of you? Or I've given this amount. How much do we have left? Easy to incorporate in. And most homeschooling parents probably already do this because we try to use any little opportunity we can to further them. Also, when you're going grocery shopping, they can find things in the grocery store by reading. They can add the cost. They can navigate through the store, or they can just help you with the skill and learn how they would need to go grocery shopping. Cooking is great for science and math. You have to do things in a sequential way for it to come out properly. You often need measuring implements so they can learn how to measure. They can learn a little bit about what fractions mean while they're cooking, learn about hot and cold and how to stir and how to mix things and what different items do to other items. And so there's a lot that they can learn from helping you cook. Also, it helps with their self-esteem and ability to do life skills. Often in the car, we listen to audiobooks as well. You, we'll sometimes play games like rhyming games or alphabet games to stimulate their minds. So there's a lot of opportunities to do that even when you're just doing your normal stuff. Another thing is to encourage movement. Like we need to exercise our brain, they need to exercise their body. My kids are so much better behaved and so much more relaxed when they're outside. So I try to get them things for birthdays and Christmas and stuff that they can use outside. So some of those things are bikes, scooters, rollerblades, skateboards, backyard toys. They have a trampoline out there, water guns, games that require water, sand play. All of those things help them stay outside. You can also go for a nature hike and collect items and then come back and they can do nature journaling. That's a great way to incorporate nature and also some writing and some drawing skills. And we use watercolor paints, so then that's art. Also, swim lessons, going to the pool, going to pool parties, things like that. Another thing you can do over the summer is play games. In Georgia, sometimes the weather isn't the best, so indoor activities are great. Some games that I like are card games and board games. With card games like Uno and Skippo, they're learning about numbers, color, directions, sequential order of numbers. They have to learn how to hold cards in their hand. They have to learn how to deal and pick up one card from the deck at a time. These are all hard skills, and having that practice can be very helpful for them. Board games like Monopoly are great too. They're counting money, they're learning about buying houses and mortgages and all that jazz. Now, this is a long game and you might need the whole day to do it, but if you like it, then that's another one that's great for kids. Now, I do not like Monopoly. I find it very tedious. So I usually try to convince my husband to play it with them. So if you're like me, try to find someone else that likes Monopoly. And with these games, they're learning their math skills. They're having to read the cards. And so they're practicing those other academic skills as well. Also, things like Battleship and Connect Four, they're learning strategy. For Guess Who, they're learning to pay attention to details and how to categorize. So this is good for my almost 4-year-old. And then also for my 6-year-old, he often doesn't pay attention to details unless it's something that he's hyper focused in, and then he will. But this is a great skill for him to pay attention to things that maybe aren't as interesting and to problem solve. Also, just good old Twister is a great game. It helps them with their right and their left. And my oldest really doesn't like it because that's a struggle for him, but it's also a good one to get them moving. So, those are some ideas for games to play. Also, you can teach your kids a new life skill or a new chore to do at home. Sometimes during the school year, we're so busy, it's hard for us to find the time that they need to learn that new skill. But during the summer, you might have a little more time, and it's a great opportunity for them to learn and then to also increase their self esteem with it, knowing how they can help and also knowing that they can do some things that are kind of hard. Next is going places. I'm going to give this big list. I'm already giving you permission to not to do all the things. I know when I see a list, I try to do all the things, but it is okay to take a break and to not do some of the things. But I'm just giving suggestions because when you go places and your kids have enriching experiences, it builds on their knowledge, it builds on their neural connections to different things, it helps them relate to other objects, and it also helps build their vocabulary when they can make these connections with the real world. So it is great to go places. That is going to be easier or harder for different families depending on what their needs are for their child. So to keep that in mind. My family does like to go and get out and do things. With that said, let me list some of the things that we're hoping to do this summer. Aquarium. My parents gave us season passes this year, so we're trying to go at least a few times. It is a couple of hours away for us, so it is a day trip. But my kids love aquarium, and one of them really loves sharks and things like that. So it's something that we really enjoy. So we're hoping to do that. We're also going to go to SeaWorld. My husband is a veteran, and in May they give a discount. They give up to four free tickets for families to go during like a certain time period. So we're taking advantage of that opportunity as well. Because when you have a family of six and one income, you have to be creative with how you get to go do things. Another thing is going for walks. You can go for nature walks, you can go for bike rides, scootering. Our neighborhood has a lot of paths to go on, so that's something we try to take advantage of often, and it's free. Um, Play dates. We invite people over to our house and we go to other people's house. It's a great opportunity for our kids to work on their social skills. And it's a great way for me to get out of the house. And usually I have someone to talk to, some adult. And so that's kind of nice to be able to have that for myself as well. Other things, crystal mining. We went during spring break and we had a lot of fun, and we might try to go again. Going fishing. One of my sons is really interested in snakes, and so we're going to a farm that's about 45 minutes away, and they have an activity for kids and that talks about snakes. One of my sons is doing a day camp for the week at a local Baptist church. He's having a blast there. He's getting to meet people, he's learning new things. It's been really fun for him. Family visiting. Right now, I have my parents visiting. That gives the kids new opportunities to build bonds and relationships, but also them doing different things. Neighbors playing at our house. We have neighbor kids that play often at our house, or my oldest will go over to their house. Also, one of my friends makes a calendar during the summer where she puts all free items or family fun items or things to do during the summer. And so I've taken a look at that calendar, and some of the things we might try to do is going to the art museum. They have a kid day once a month that is for a reduced price and is geared towards children. And then also music in the park in the evening. During the summer is 4th of July, so there's usually some firework display at some point. If you have kids that don't tolerate that, headphones work really well for one of my kiddos. So I'm giving a lot of suggestions. Again, take what you want, leave the rest behind. I give you permission. That's all I have for you for today. So, what are you planning on doing this summer? Do you already have a plan for how you're going to beat summer regression? Or what fun activities do you have planned for the summer? I can't wait to read all about them. And please remember to like and subscribe below if you haven't done already. And thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.